So the problem is that companies like Walmart, they don't pay employees enough money to incentivize them to work for their company. And if they do end up getting people to work for them, they just end up trying to steal money out of the cash register like we saw happen yesterday.
Get discount card yet?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so the work vest and your ID and your work phone can be in place right here.
So what's the officer to do?
Arrest you.
Arrest me?
Yeah, so you're gonna do what they told you to do is get back on.
Why is y'all arresting me?
Because you're under arrest for stealing.
So instead, they switched to a self-checkout model, and now they don't need cashiers anymore. But instead, now customers are stealing from self-checkouts all the time. And no, not you guys, but other people are stealing. The folks that subscribe to my channel, they wouldn't do things like that, right? So now Walmart and Target and Home Depot, Lowe's, Kroger, everybody, they're finding new ways to try and stop theft without having to hire more people. So in Atlanta, they built a police department inside of the Walmart stores. And of course, with new tech and AI, they're doing their best to slow down their shrink and also put loss prevention out of a job too. But I want you guys to check this out. Here, look at your screen.
Tools to help in today's labor shortage. And sometimes not having enough workers is because companies are not paying a high enough salary to attract those workers. Regardless, the show floor had many examples of expensive systems to keep an eye on store inventory and the checkout process. I'm going to show you how image recognition is changing the very annoying self-checkout process. Here at Edgify, there's a camera always looking down at what you are scanning, and it can tell exactly what you're putting down. Doesn't matter how I put those bananas down, it knows they are bananas. The camera is good enough to be able to scan that. For anyone trying to be sneaky and get diapers but actually just pay for gum, it scanned gum, but the image knows it is not gum. And I try to pay quickly, it's not gonna let you pay. NCR is taking this to another level. Here you could just throw various items all at once down on the surface at any angle. You have a camera up top, so you could just kind of throw your stuff on as you're shopping, I don't know, whatever, and it's already figuring it out. I don't have to scan the barcode. This kind of system makes sense at places like stadiums or gas stations where maybe you have an item that doesn't typically have a barcode, like a plate of nachos. It'll be able to recognize it and have you move right along. Google is also in the game now, using its image recognition smarts. It can tell the difference between many different versions of a product on a shelf at many different angles. Their shelf check solution.
This woman is demonstrating the latest tech in self-checkout scanners and job killers with the most sophisticated scanning cameras and AI put together to work all at once, seamlessly. And most importantly, they have developed a way to combat and put an end to the whole scanning trick of using a lesser item and bagging a more expensive item. But honestly, this is only the beginning. And the way that this is possible has been shown to us for years, as they have been working on this in development behind the scenes. Have you seen how Apple and Google allow you to search now using images, or better yet, they do the searching for you and provide recommendations and suggestions automatically based on a photo that you may have taken or a video that you've recorded with your latest iPhone, Titanium, or Samsung Galaxy. Yep, they're using the same tech. But here's where things are going to get a little bit dark and disturbing, because now we're entering into the age of AI and robotic automation civil rights. Yep, much like the them, they, theirs out there in the world demanding progressive liberal entitlement for every little thing, there will be lobbying and a push for droid, robot, and machine rights too. Just wait and see. There are already states that have mandated new laws specifically for AI, robots, and automatronics. And if you haven't guessed it by now, then I'll just go ahead and tell you it was California. But no real surprise there, right? So in blue states like California, Democrats see no problem with giving machines their own rights and treating them like people too, and maybe getting them to vote. But we'll talk about that more in another video. And they even allowed police and law enforcement to let AI use deadly force and therefore hold no consequence in the event that the machine unalives someone. It's essentially legalized murder with the government's approval. Now, Cali lets driverless cars roam the city streets, and get this, they're immune to traffic violations and can't get tickets from police. So, if you think that they're going to stop there, well, then I hate to break it to you, but this is only going to get worse. And in the case of Walmart and other retailers attempting to stop shoplifters from stealing from them at self-checkouts, well, I see it playing out like this. And basically what's going to happen is, although they have all the tech that they need to monitor what you're scanning, weigh it, identify it without you even scanning it, if your intent was to theoretically, or this person or whomever, if their intent was to steal, then going through the self-checkout is a little bit of semantics, basically, because inevitably you had no intentions of paying full price or paying anything at all. So at that point, we have to look at all the fail-safes and security measures and facial recognition and scanning and weighing and thumbprints and all this. They're collecting your data so that they can build a case, build a record against you. But they can't stop you yet. And this is where the legal consequences come into play, where we have seen instances of employees being reprimanded or even terminated, fired, canned, laid off, cut, because they tried to apprehend, they tried to chase, they tried to prevent theft from happening, which I'm going to tell you guys right now, there's no job out there that could pay me enough to want to do that, period. But in the case of Walmart, I see them pulling out all the stops with having lawmakers and politicians, particularly specifically Democrats, in their back pockets, and getting a green light, getting a pass to implement new tech, where they see it as, well, if you're going to go to the self-checkout and you're going to attempt to steal and do your job incorrectly, as you are now a non-paid employee by Walmart to scan your own items at self-checkout, then they have to be able to prevent that. They can identify it, but now they have to be able to prevent it. And with the same tech that's available, I see a future where this tech will be able to detain and restrain until law enforcement arrives. Now, this is just a theory. This is just a prediction and a forecast into the future, but perhaps maybe future self-checkouts don't necessarily have an arm that comes out and grabs you and holds you in place, but maybe they're in some sort of a cubicle of sort. And once you enter in, you can't exit until you have paid. And you're saying, well, Kevin, that sounds extremely invasive and illegal. Right. However, if AI and robotics and automation and machines have their own rules and laws to play by, then everything is okay, because they're not real people and they can do what they want and get away with it, and the government has already approved it. Maybe this will never happen. Maybe it will. But based on the events that we have seen so far, the problems that they're telling us are happening all the time, left and right.
Issues we hear all the retailers talk about is what's happening with theft, with shrinkage, stuff that walks out the door. What would you like to see people in Washington and elsewhere do about it?
Yeah, theft is an issue. It's higher than what it's historically been, and we've got safety measures, security measures that we put in place by store location. I think local law enforcement being staffed and being a good partner is part of that equation, and that's normally how we approach it. That's not corrected over time. Prices will be higher. Right. And or stores will close. It's store managers working with local law enforcement, and we've got great relationships there for the most part, and that's the way we approach it.
So what would you like to see? What are the measures that, from the Walmart perspective and the Business Roundtable perspective,
overall?
Business Roundtable perspective, that you'd like to see policymakers working on right now?
It's just policy consistency and clarity, so that we can make capital investments with some vision.
Good luck.
That would be nice.
I find it hard to believe that we won't end up somewhere along those lines in the very near future, albeit maybe it'll be the entire store, which would then force everyone to be on a lockdown in the event of a theft. But I feel as though that these companies are working towards a future, a world where loss doesn't happen anymore. And they are going to be able to capture and pinpoint and lock down anyone and everyone at any time, and or have their information to track them down and prosecute to the full extent of the law. And the government is going to allow them and help them to do that.
I can tell you my problems, meditating my silence. But I keep pushing my pen, rotating my stylus. Brokenness feeling like sin, now no breath, low dollar. Used to be left on red, now all the girls go holler. Now all the girls go follow. All the fake friends